Hello everybody, this is Joel, the Nose, coming to you from Miami as usual, trying out a little new angle and some lighting, and hopefully you all find this, I guess, maybe a little bit better than some of my other videos that I've done recently. But today I'm coming at you because I wanted to do a top 3. This is not a top 3, for example, fragrances or a top 3 business colognes or date night colognes. This is my top 3 rules, okay? My top 3 rules on new fragrance buying. I think this is really important because this works for me and I wanted to share this with you. Of course, feel free to use any of the rules, none of the rules. You may find I'm crazy, but again, this is what works for me. So, first of all, this is an overriding rule that kind of encompasses all 3 of these rules I'm about to go. And my number one, I guess, philosophy is never blind buy. Now, a couple caveats to that. Never blind buy, the reason behind that is because what smells on a fragrance strip or on somebody else or what you read about online and when it gets on your skin is going to be totally different from anybody else and totally different from that little paper strip. So that's my reason behind this kind of general rule. But I also want to say, I make exceptions to that. If I find a really good deal, maybe somewhere online, or I always am in bargain shopping when I'm in the stores and I go by a Marshall's or another department store, a discount store, and if I see a rare fragrance, like recently I found New York by Brooks Brothers for $15, I'm going to buy it because a blind buy for that, it's worth it. So my general rule is regarding niche and more expensive designer and such. When you're spending a lot of your hard-earned money, don't blind buy, folks. So having said that, here are my 3 rules. I guess you could call them my top 3 rules to fragrance buying under the general rule of don't blind buy. And I have my notebook here because I was taking copious notes. I am a lawyer, so we take a lot of notes and write a lot of stuff down. First, when you're at wherever you're buying a fragrance, let's say you go to your favorite perfume shop, or let's say you don't have a great perfume shop and you're at the department store like a Macy's and you're looking around and you want to get a new fragrance and you've heard about some and you want to try them out. This is my advice, is spray a bunch first on the white fragrance strips, okay? So good general rule because you're going to get the top notes. I'm sure as a lot of you are aware, the top notes are what come out first in a fragrance. So you're going to smell those before you smell the mid or base notes. And they come out and they're usually strong, especially in today's culture, especially in designer fragrances, but even in niche. They hit you with that originally because that's what pulls you in and that's what sells. So spray those on a bunch of different strips. You may try 5, 6, 7, 10, 2, 3, whatever it is. Spray them, and then from that you're going to eliminate, and you're going to, I'd say, process of elimination. And it's almost like the scientific method here, but with your nose. So after you've done that and you sprayed, you're going to knock a lot out right off the bat, where right from from the start, the top notes, they don't smell good to you, pleasing at all, so you knock them away. Once you've narrowed it down to 2 or 3, so now we're going to go to rule number 2, excuse me. Once you've knocked out and, again, eliminated just the ones you don't like, rule number 2, then you're going to spray those on your skin. I like this spray on the back of my hands. That's where I get the best, projection. It's where I get the longest lasting on my skin, assuming you're not a compulsive hand washer or germaphobe. And that works for me. So spray. If you have 2 that you've narrowed it down to, go to each hand. If you have 3, I suggest going to the inside of one of your elbows. So that gives you 4 spots you can narrow down to if you have 4 that you really like. Sorry, my dog over here, Jojo, who wants to join in, is talking. Anyways, so that way you're going to wear and smell that all day. Goes back to my original over-guiding principle of don't blind buy, because the top notes are gone after 30, 40 minutes, sometimes a little bit longer, and then you're left with the mid and the base notes. And if all you sprayed in the store and smelled was the top notes, you have no idea what this fragrance is going to smell like after, basically 30 minutes to an hour. So you spray it, and then that way you're going to have it at least for a few hours for a good part of the day, and you're going to know what it really smells like on your skin as it starts to dry down and go through its composition. Third, and this is an interesting one that you may totally disagree with me, and I'll be interested to hear people's comments on this, but I like to smell, again, once you've narrowed it down to those 2 or 3 that you smell on your skin, I like to then smell and get my own impression first, like a tabula rasa, a blank slate, without any preconceived notions. I don't look on base notes or Fragrantica or any other sites, or even the niche, the perfumer site. I don't read in what all the notes are. I may have heard, I may have whatever, but that day, the first thing I do is smell it, and I get my impression, and I write it down. Then, very quickly after, within a few minutes, I Google, and I go and I find out, we all do it from whatever sites you like to use, and I find out what are the notes, the top notes that I smell, the mid notes, the base notes, and I like to then compare it to what I actually smelled. Because again, a lot of these notes that you read about, they're totally wrong. I found this very common online. For example, you'll look at one fragrance and different sources will have literally totally different things listed. Today I'm wearing Xerjoff, Uden, which is part of the Shooting Stars collection, which I will be doing a review on in the next day or two. But if you go to one of the sites, it lists, this is very interesting, it lists something in the base which is sandalwood, which is a pure base, woodsy, base note. But on Fragrantica, they list it as a mid note. Totally wrong. It's not a mid note. This is something that it's a base. It's a strong thing. So you got to be careful. And if I had read that before, when I'm testing a fragrance, it's just going to totally mess up your mind, because if you know anything about the psychology and the science behind smell, we are very influenced by words, choices, actions, context. So when you read something and you've never really smelled it before, you're going to immediately have that stuck in your mind. So I like to, again, have this blank slate in my mind before I read it. Then I like to read, and I read different sources to make sure the sources are right, as I just said, because frequently they can be very wrong. And I read some reviews, and I cull all that information together in my mind so that I can make a not only emotional, but also a analytical response to this fragrance that I'm smelling. So there you have it. My top 3 fragrance buying tips. I hope you found this useful. If you did, please leave a comment or tell me if I'm crazy. Tell me if you like it. Tell me your experience. If you did like it, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel and ring the bell so you can get content whenever I release it. I hope you guys are having a great, wonderful weekend. I truly appreciate you listening to my channel and taking the time to hear me pontificate about all these different things that I love and I have this passion for. And hope you're having a great weekend, and everybody have a great evening, and we'll talk to you soon. Coming to you from Miami, it's Joel the Nose.